What's up guys, Vress here. If you're totally new to Elder Scrolls Online and you're wondering which class to play, then this video is going to help you decide. I've just got back into Elder Scrolls Online in 2017 and I have to say I'm having an absolute blast with it. And it's looking like I'm not the only one. There seem to be plenty of new players getting involved following the Morrowind expansion. So for that reason I wanted to put out a very quick guide that explains the basics of picking a class that's easy to understand even if you've never played an MMO before. So if you're a more advanced player, then just be aware that this content is going to be at a very basic level. First of all, let's take a look at some things you should consider before you pick your class. Number 1, there is no best class. They all have their strengths and weaknesses and they change all the time. It's a really bad idea to pick the flavour of the month in any MMO for a number of different reasons. First of all, if you're totally new, you're probably not even going to understand why it's the flavour of the month and you're not even going to benefit from that anyway. And secondly, it's much more important to pick a class that you think you're going to enjoy, one that you think looks cool and looks like it has a fun playstyle that suits you. The second thing to consider is that Elder Scrolls classes are very flexible compared to other MMOs. One of the things that I think is really cool about the game is that it's just not strict in terms of how you can play your class. Any class can use all of the different weapon and armor types available in the game. Technically, any class can tank, heal or deal damage. Of course, some classes are going to shine in a particular role, but this again is something that's likely to change between different updates of the game. So I definitely wouldn't recommend picking on that basis alone. Number 3, and this isn't massive but it's something to consider, race choice makes a difference in this game. As an absolute beginner who's just looking to enjoy the storyline and maybe do some dungeons and PvP, it's probably not going to have a massive impact on you. But if you're a hardcore raider, then I would definitely suggest going and doing a bit of research around race choices. I'm not going to cover any of that here because like I said, this is a very brief overview for totally new players. So let's take a look at what each class is about and we'll start with the Templar. The Templar is your typical paladin style class, a sort of warrior of the light. Brings a lot of strong healing and support abilities to the party and tends to play with quite a defensive playstyle. However, this doesn't mean that they can't put out a lot of damage if they want to. They can be very difficult to kill due to their defensive playstyle and their high survivability. Next we have the Dragonknight, and this is a much more aggressive playstyle. There are a lot of fire-based abilities as you'd expect from a class called the Dragonknight. Personally, I really like the playstyle of the Dragonknight. It feels like a traditional warrior class but on steroids with flames flying out everywhere. Next we have the Sorcerer, who is your magic wielding spellcaster who puts out massive damage in both close combat and ranged fights. They also have the very cool ability to summon minions forth from another realm to do their bidding. And while a lot of sorcerers may decide to wear light armor for the benefits it gives them, they're also equipped with defensive spells to keep them alive. Then we have the Nightblade, and this is your stealthy assassin. It's your rogue class who's going to jump out of the shadows and rip you a new one. They have a very aggressive playstyle and can put out massive damage. They're also able to sustain themselves by siphoning health from the enemy. And finally we have the Warden, which is the newest class that came out with the Morrowind expansion. The Warden's a nature-based class and they're able to summon animals to fight by their side. They have very strong support spells and healing abilities and have a high sustain, so they can also be very difficult to kill. I hope that gives you a bit of an idea around the theme of each class. We're not going to look at any specific abilities here because this isn't a technical guide. The idea here is just to give you a flavour of the playstyles and see what appeals to you. The most important thing is just to pick the class you're excited about. Don't worry about flavour of the month because it will always be changing. Leveling a character in Elder Scrolls Online is a big investment and you don't want to level the one you're least excited about just because it's flavour of the month, because you're probably going to find out by the time you hit max level that it's not flavour of the month anymore and you just wasted your time. So that brings us to the end of the video. Let me know which class you're going to pick in the comments down below. Also, if you like the video, please remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time.